Welcome back to Against the Grain Living, where we do things the hard way just because. This is for a future project, but I just signed up for quite a bit that has to be cleaned up before August. The whole log yard needs to be cleaned up, and all of this fill from a nearby site. Anyway, enjoy the sawmill video with the Alaskan mill, and we'll get to this at a later date. This is basically full capacity of the 9-foot rails, so it gives me a little bit of room to load the mill up without being engaged in the log. So there's just 3 4-inch structural screws, and then I wanted to set this up here for the first time. So this was the plate that I welded with the C-clamp portions on it. I took that debarking tool and just gave it a flat spot to sit on, and just did the sides. I left the top and bottom because they just come off with your first and last slabs, so that's a waste of time getting the bark off of those. But I think I'm going to cut this and widen it out so that these make contact out on the outside radius. I'm just gonna make a cut beside it and weld in probably 2 inches, and then I can have a series of holes in case a different hole is more desirable. Now, this is only 1.25 inch long screw, so I have to guarantee that it's not gonna stick down more than 3.25 inches into the wood with reference to the bottom of these rails. And then this middle thing will only probably need to be used on the 17-foot rails, but I was just simulating it on the 9-foot sections because that's what I've been playing with first. Those are my sawhorses that I built last time we had the mill out. Just out walking the little guy, and that came down overnight. Just missed my log. The next one I was gonna mill. Sawhorses survived. Something else to clean up. So we finally made it back out to try to mill these logs up. Winter came back for a second. I modified this. I did all this prep work last time I was out just to see, because I didn't play with this middle bracket. So I ended up welding 1 inch of material back into the length of it, because I wanted it these threaded pieces to be further out from the log so I could turn them, because they were getting right into the material. I shortened them up. I decided to opt out of the little slide handles that come with C-clamps because they droop a little bit, and I got to be mindful of the distance from here to the bottom. It can't be more than that 5.5 inches, or else the blade will get into it. So I just decided to cut little flats on either side. If it does jam up and I can't move it around with my fingers, I always have my Leatherman pliers or an adjustable and anything I'm working with. So the idea is just get some sort of reference straight edge, and so I got a bit of light in the middle there, and I can just crank up till it disappears, and then just put the jam nut on, and then it takes all of the play out of it. This is just the 8-foot length, so it's probably not ever going to be used on the 8-foot rails, but I wanted to check this out. I have 2 16-footers behind me here. Ground's a little soft to get the tractor out and back here, and I'm not sure I want to carry 16-footers back on my shoulders yet. I might just wait a little bit before I play with those, but I'll do the same on the other side, and let's mill this. So it's just I have 2 holes just because the logs are a little irregular. I took the bark off here. I probably will every time if I have the debarking tool or a log peel with me, draw knife. I just do the same over here. So it's just a single screw holding that, and then the level up here doesn't really matter. These just happen to be perfectly level. We're just using the 6.5-foot level as a straight edge. So there we go. We're good to go. unnerving to set it up that close to all the steel, but you try to maximize your material. I'm sure I'll get more comfortable with it, but I still haven't ground out this pocket for the 2x2, so this will be fun again getting this on. I think this one's fine. So then you just unscrew this stuff. Not necessary for the rest of it. I'm sure I'll get a system and a little bit more organized. So just 4-inch timber lock screws around. There we go. And then I just adjust the height of this guy to my desired thickness and slab it off. So this isn't very big material I'm working with. I'm just trying to utilize some stuff that came down in a windstorm. The 16-footers are a little bit bigger, but this is an 8-footer and there's a 12-footer. They're pretty narrow. So I'm not going to bore you with slabbing off a bunch of stuff, but when I get some improvements to my setup or a little bit more fluent, maybe I'll update you on that, but I'll show you the end pile whenever I get it all done. A little out of breath. A little later in the same day, but I decided to bring out the big rails. So I prepped this log. I can't get the tractor back here this time of year. I tried to lift this up onto the sawhorses, but couldn't do it, so we're just gonna bend over for this one. We got the bark off the side with the MS-170. I think these, based on linear footage of 2x2 1/4-inch wall, these are about 95 pounds a piece, and I had about 500 meters to carry them each. I put this plate on ahead of time, but I was too far one way, so I'm barely going to catch on this side. I'm just going to shimmy it over. That should catch. So, I don't know if you can see that. Pretty good bounce just with the tap of the finger. So I was figuring you definitely needed these. I don't know what a 661 would weigh in that mill, but it's definitely gonna deflect these. So, it's touching it now. You got rid of all the bounce, and if they were bowed out on their own weight, which they are, this might be where you need the adjustable though. Get away with the leather. That's quicker. Take the weight off it. That's pretty good. I'm just gonna do the same on the other side. So that's the difference. So pretty happy with how that center plate ended up. Anyway, this is just going into a 6x6 eventually. Now I can only slab it 6 inches thick. I'm gonna go probably 6 1/8, allow for some shrinkage and maybe some it dries out, I'll have to get it right down to 6 inches, and I can use my big Sasquatch circular saw, and we'll see if it'll rip lengthwise full 6 inches of material. If not, I have that base plate for a chainsaw. So I go 90 degrees to a plane, and I can rip it that way. But it's just going to dry out probably in the basement. It's taking me a bit to get this cabin built, and some of the logs are not weathering that well, or I'm already concerned about. So I can get two spare 6x6s 16 feet long out of these wind blown, just in case there are some bad pieces by the time things get built. Well, definitely not smooth at it. Pretty good. Looking down it, everything's pretty true. Where's my tape measure? So we're 6 3/16 on both sides. It looks pretty true. And this is the butt, so that's 8 inches. We'll be able to get clean. Let's see what we are up closer to the top here. 6 1/4, I think. So we'll get a 6 3/8. We're gonna get a clean 6x6 out of this. No way. Now, my circular saw's got to get through all that, the whole length. That'll be the next thing. I'm not sure if it's better to cut that when it's wet or when it's dry. If there's any experts in the comments, which I doubt there is, because the channel's not that big, let me know if it's easier for the saw to go through it dry or not. That's a big Sasquatch, so it can cut 6 inches in one clean pass. You could set the depth of cut and come at it from each side if it didn't. The curve's smaller on the circular saw than it is on running my chainsaw on that other jig, and the jig's up at the cabin property. So, anyway, we're going to use this same thing with that hemlock 16-footer. It was a bit bigger of a tree, I believe, so it'll be another clean 6x6. And then we have a 12-footer that I'm probably going to get some more true 2-inch. I don't have a lot of that up at the property, and I need some of it for at the bottom of my walls, so I'm just capitalizing on some of this windblown to get some true 2-inch. So I got 2 boards out of that top, that 8-foot top that I had. And that tree that fell down across here, it's in decent shape. It's just small diameter, but I think I can get a couple boards out of it too. They're probably just going to be true 2x4s, 2 of them out of each. I got a little tree fort for the nephew I gotta build, so I can get some of that lumber for that. Anyway, we're going to pack up the tools for tonight and come back out tomorrow and try to get those other 2 trees processed. I can't really do a whole lot this time of year because of the moisture in the ground. I just wreck things with the equipment up at the property or here. So we're just cleaning this stuff up until we can get back at it full time. Part time. We got a wedding to get ready for in August, so that's definitely gonna take a bunch of my time and a bunch of projects at the house, and I'm starting a new job, so lots of new for Jeremy in 2024. It'll be first full year with Weston, my son. Getting married, new job. I'm trying to make progress at my 15 acres here and the 100 acres up north. Busy, busy. It's a new day. We got the first cut off of that other 16-footer. It was all debarked. Got this 12-footer debarked and the rails on it. Now obviously there must be a belly in this because my middle bracket here, they're sitting way higher than on the other straighter logs that I've done. Now the problem is, from this surface to this surface only gives me about a 1/4 inch between the top of the bar. So these screws are gonna have to come out because they stick below that. I think the one is about 3/4 of an inch and the other one's about an inch down. So we're gonna have to pull those out, and maybe it'll just balance on there now that they have the weight of either bar. So we'll try that out. Glad I caught that because that would have been a chain. So I just removed those 2 screws and it's staying put with the weight of these bars on it. But that was the dilemma I would have been in. That was the longer of the 2. Even that one probably would have got into my bar. So I can't use much shorter screws than that. But it worked not bad. You put the screws in to hold it still while you get pressure on with both of these, and then no more bounce. And like I said, these are 95 pounds each. So once it's balanced, I think it'll stay put. Well, because I welded these off to the side of the bar, it had it tip. So it's still supporting it a little bit, but there is a bounce. So if I ever get around to redesigning this, I'm gonna put it in the center, so I can't do that in case I get into a log like this that I can't put screws down through. Anyway, we're gonna carry on. This is just gonna be 2x materials, so this just gives a flat reference versus it's a little more critical with the timbers. All right, we're gonna make a pretty good time today, so we're gonna carry on. I decided I'm gonna fire up the Honda and the big saw squatch. I got a chalk line there, and we'll see if we can go through it. Now they're about 6 3/16 thick. They only advertise that as 6-inch depth of cut, so we'll see what we're dealing with, and hopefully the Honda will run her. I think it is a 15 amp tool, and that's a 15 amp plug, but that's a lot of wood all at once and ripping the whole length. We're gonna try it out. Anyway, everything that's been out here I've had to haul out by hand, so 500 meters each way, and I think the Honda's 50 pounds, the saw is 30 pounds, so definitely getting better at my farmer's carry. Let's see. Cut from this side so the base plate's sitting on it a little bit more. Feeling, tripped the breaker. Gonna have to take it real slow. So I'm getting to the end of my second day of milling. Oh, you alright, Tinky? Step on something sharp? Other than the day that I built the sawhorses. And a couple takeaways. the debarking tool so you don't run. The side cover doesn't fit. I might try to modify it because the chain brake here, so when it's off so it can spin, this band around here, this clutch basket I guess it is slack, and if you're going down this side of the log, you got gravity and vibration against you, that this just pops out like that, and then your brake doesn't work. Now I don't know if I need the brake with this attachment. I don't even have a bar for this saw anymore, and you just have to put it back in, and then when the brake's on, it's not coming out of there. But yeah, this tool doesn't have the reactive force at all that a normal bar does, so I don't know if I need that mechanism in there, and I might pull it off so I don't lose it in case I do get a bar for this saw, or I modify the side cover so that there's something over here. I just don't think it fits with this pulley or this bracket at all. But or I just unhook there and there and pull it off and just keep it in with all the parts, because the oiler and everything's removed off of this, because you obviously don't want oil going on the belt. So that was a takeaway. So we'll do something with that. I'm going to remove these little wedge blocks off of my sawhorses. They get in the way more than they help. The reason they get in the way is there is about, I don't know, 2 inches to the bottom of these bolts and nuts beneath the bar on either side, and whatever your material is sitting on almost has to be held up from in the center right beneath the log from the rest of it, because today I had to cut on an angle and get the tip of the bar over the obstacle, and then rotate the log the other way, and then get the power head over the obstacle, being those 2 hemlock rounds that all that long material is sitting on. So I got to figure that out, but you can't have it just sitting up on a small little block, because it wants to fall off, as you saw today. Because I have been trying to put some of my boards that I've been milling underneath the center, but they don't stay, not even with my wedges. So I got to figure that out as well. But I got 3 more boards. I'm gonna try to get 1-inch boards out of the thicker part of those, the butt end of those 6x6 logs that I got there. They were thick enough still for the butt part for the first 8 feet that I can get another 1-inch board. So I don't know what I have left for fuel in this. I don't have any fuel here. It'd have to be one more trip to the house, which I'm not sure I'm gonna do today, given I have, well, I'll show you the pile of everything that's got to be walked back up from the 2 days of milling. So other than that, it is a ton of work. It's much slower than the bandsaw. No, but I don't own one of those, and I just like the ability to harvest some of the storm trees that fall, because they fall every single year. So I don't know what I'm gonna have here. I'm gonna have 2 6x6s 16 feet long. These are true 2 inches. They still have the wane on the side. They're 8 feet long. I have 2 2-inch thick 12 feet long, and I'm gonna have 3 1-inch boards, 1-inch thick boards, 8 feet long, and one that's like 5 feet, just salvaging some of the cutoff material. So I'm gonna cut until I run out of fuel and then clean up. Now that one tree here that these guys have been playing in the swamp all day, I have one here that's worth running a mill through. I think it's 8.5 inches at the narrow, which is probably the smallest that I'd ever waste my time putting a mill on for. 1 inch, 1 inch, Alright, we'll get these 3 boards done and everything cleaned up. Alright, the goal is to get that back up to the house, which is about 500 meters in 4 trips. Another takeaway, a little spot blower, essential for doing this stuff, dealing with the sawdust and all that, especially when I was running that circular saw. I was even using it to air cool the motor. So I ended up taking 3 passes to cut the 6 inches. So I'd run my base plate up here, then in the middle, and then all the way down at the bottom. So I had to use that for 1 continuous cut on each of those logs. So it ended up being 3 times each, 6 times I had to run 16 feet with it, or else I was tripping the overload on the Honda. Anyway, Michelle she just got home, she took a load up for me, and this is what we accomplished today. So this was 2 blown over trees. So we have 6x6s, a bunch of 2x material, and then 1-inch boards. Some of them still have the live edge on them. Another one right here. And I ended up cutting up one of the 8-foot lengths of this tree that fell across my little log yard here that I've created. So I got 2 2-inch boards out of the bigger of them. Don't know if it's going to be worth putting either of those on or not. We'll see. The wood was good, even though that tree was clearly dead. The bark came off. Bugs weren't really in it yet though. So anyway, that wraps up our first full weekend with chainsaw milling. Thanks again for watching. These film people, you gotta get the sun at your face apparently. Thanks again for watching Against the Grain Living. We'll see you next time we're out here. I have a bunch of projects, not really for the property, just some stuff around here, planter boxes and stuff like that. So I'm gonna try to harvest some cedars and a tree fort for the little nephew there. So we'll have lots of time on the mill. Hopefully we get a little bit better at it. We made a bunch of mistakes, but we learned every time we made one. So if you enjoy this stuff, you can like, subscribe, all that stuff, and maybe the channel will grow into something and help me along with this stuff a little quicker. But see you next time, and take care.